everybody, and welcome back to Nerdly Out Loud, the official channel of nerdly.co.uk, your favourite website for all of your news, reviews, and exclusive interviews. We like to cover everything from the big budget to the low budget to the no budget, with a special keen interest on the lower end of the scale. That's where my heart lives, it's where it lies, it's what I like to cover more than anything else. I have dipped out for a little bit because we've been dropping a couple of top 10s on the channel to see how that fits. About a week ago, I watched this movie with my daughter, this awesome movie, and I wasn't really sure what to make of it going in. I wasn't really sure what to make of it as I watched it, and I'm still, a week later, kind of trying to figure out what to make of it. The movie is called Sasquatch Sunset. You may have heard of it. It does have a bit of a cast, but from what I can tell, it's kind of flying under the radar, so I thought, why not jump in the booth, tell you what Nerdly thinks, what I think, so let's just get into it. And as always, I will do what I normally do, and that is to go through the plot of the movie, although it's going to be hard to talk about a little bit about the cast and the crew of the film, and talk a little bit about what I did and didn't like about the film, and then I'll get into my final Nerdly Out Loud rating, which is just my rating. This is one of those movies that it's going to be very Marmite, and if you know what I mean by that, like you are either going to love it or you're going to hate it. I still don't necessarily know where I fall into place on this. I did quite enjoy it, not entirely sure why. I thought there's going to be a little bit more to it, there really wasn't, but really, when you look behind a lot of what's actually going on screen, there is something here for everyone. But what I will say is that the reason I wanted to give this time, the reason I wanted to watch this movie, the reason I wanted to review this movie was because Nathan Zellner and David Zellner, the co-writers and co-directors of this movie, they put their heart on the sleeve with this one. This is the ballsy movie to not just go out there and make, to not just pitch to a couple of pretty reputable actors, but to get out there, to hit the festivals, to show in cinemas, and to just put this passion project out into the world. It's a ballsy move because this could have fell pretty flat. As the title suggests, this movie is about Sasquatches. They're out in the woods, they're out in the wilds of America, in the middle of nowhere there. We don't really know where it is, we kind of just know that it's out there. And we have a family of Sasquatches. But this ain't no Harry and the Hendersons, no, we ain't doing that this time. This time round we have got male, female, child, and alpha male, played by Jesse Eisenberg, Riley Keough, and Christophe Zajac-Denek, and Nathan Zellner himself, one of the co-writer directors. I don't know how you pitch this movie to Jesse Eisenberg, although I do kind of get the sense that Eisenberg's up for pretty much anything. What I do know is that the directors of this, the writer-directors, they did make another movie, The Art of Self-Defense, like a couple of years ago with Jesse Eisenberg, a movie that I loved and adored. I really got a kick out of that film. It was a fantastic film. So that was another reason that I was willing to give this a chance. But on the whole, like on the most basic level of this movie, we are going to follow this Sasquatch family through the trials and tribulations of being Sasquatches for about a year. We kind of go through fall, winter, summer, spring. We kind of go through that, and that's what the movie is telling us. Every now and then we get the black screen, which gives us the new season, and then we're going to follow them during certain events throughout those seasons. And of course, as I say, it's trials and tribulations, so for the most part we're watching them groom each other, we're watching them groom themselves, we're watching them pick berries from trees and eating them, we're watching them crap in the woods. You know, does a bear crap in the woods? I guess we know the answer now. We're watching them be lovers but also falling out. We watch this family dynamic, and it's super intriguing. It's kind of like those documentaries on the Discovery Channel or the History Channel where we follow like a bunch of penguins or a bunch of monkeys or something like that. That's what we're doing here, only it's a movie. We have a little bit of a narrative going throughout, and it's just expressionism art, I guess. They just said to Jesse Eisenberg, we're going to put you in some cosmetics, we're going to make you look like a Sasquatch, and you get to go out into the woods and act like a Sasquatch. And I think Eisenberg would have been like, hell yeah, I'm doing that. Riley Keough, I'm not entirely sure how we get Riley Keough in this movie, but thank God they did. Like, this is something completely different for this actress. It was really cool to see her doing that. And then, of course, Christophe Zajac-Denek. I don't really know anything about this guy. but he plays the child Sasquatch. I think it's based on his height. I don't really know much about the actor, but it's a really cool little role. When I try and tell you about what these guys are doing and the storylines going throughout, it must be quite hard to imagine what they're actually doing, because you think of Discovery Channel, History Channel, you think of just following them around, camera just does this, that, and this. There's not really a story to it. There is definitely a story here, and it's a very, very heartfelt story. We've already talked a little bit about our cast, so let's just talk a little bit about the crew as well, because I have to say, the cinematography on this, and it had to be, is gorgeous. It's absolutely fantastic. We're spending most of our time in the woods, on mountains, doing wide landscape shots. We need all of that to look as good as it's going to look, because we are essentially just following some Sasquatch walking through the woods, shitting in their hands, catching fish and stuff like that. So you do need the cinematography to be on point. And I'm going to mess this up, but I have to give the man props. But Mike Geolakis is the DOP, the director of photography, the cinematographer, and he does a fantastic job. He kind of makes this sort of absurd, sort of surreal family that you're watching extremely watchable, because they look great, the scenery looks great, the background looks great, and of course that also goes to the makeup artists as well, because these Sasquatch look kind of like Sasquatch. Even when their tiny little ding-dongs are hanging out, it kind of looks like a tiny little Sasquatch ding-dong, or at least what I would perceive a tiny little Sasquatch ding-dong to look like. I'm saying ding-dong too much. I'm talking about their members. And we get a little bit of that. When I first kind of saw it, I was like, why are we getting that? What's going on here? But it kind of makes sense as it goes through, as you see these Sasquatch males getting a little bit more agitated by things, and the woman, the female Sasquatch, just be like, dude, you can't have me when you want me. You have me when I want you to have me, kind of thing. Like, she's a strong, independent female Sasquatch, and I love that about her. And then, of course, we've got the music, because yes, these actors can be doing a fantastic job, and they are doing a fantastic job, considering there is no real dialogue in this movie. It is just oohs and ahs and ahs, which is fine. It's totally cool. You kind of find yourself understanding them anyway, because a lot of it is done with the eyes, and Jesse's great at that. Jesse Eisenberg is fantastic. For someone who almost comes off robotic in a lot of films and TV shows and things that he makes, especially The Social Network, where he's kind of supposed to be a little bit robotic. You know, that's kind of the point of that character, the kind of point of that movie. But in this, he is using his eyes like you wouldn't believe, and he's getting the point across for me. Like, I fully got what Jesse Eisenberg was going through as a Sasquatch. Same with Riley Keough. She gets it all out there. She makes everything just work. But again, I was going to mention a quick second ago, that's all fantastic, that's all colored bubbles, that's brilliant, but you also need the cinematography to look good, but then you also have to have a good score, like fantastic music, great score. And the Octopus Project, they came through with the score here, and it does hit. It smacks in every single place that it's supposed to smack. When you're getting a little bit of, you know, real life kind of Sasquatch drama, and we do get some real life Sasquatch drama, be prepared to be angry at some Sasquatch, be prepared to be sad at some Sasquatch, and at some points you may be attracted to them. I don't know, like, that might be your thing. You might be into Sasquatches. There is probably a special corner of the internet for you. Please go and be there and watch that if it's your thing. Or you can watch this and get a little bit turned on by it as well. That went weird. That got weird, right? Yeah, that got weird. We'll scrap that. So yeah, the Octopus Project do a great job with the score as well. I genuinely felt like I was absolutely in this. And the great thing about this film is that it's not exactly a long film. It's about an hour and a half to 2 hours. It's not a long movie, but it doesn't even feel like a long movie or anything like that. You kind of just feel like you've just started watching it, and then it finishes. That might be to do with the sort of episodicness of going through the different seasons. It might be something to do with that, because you do get a little bit of difference each and every time. And that's kind of what's cool about it, because we know that we're going to get something within this period that's going to show us who these Sasquatch are and how they are living, which is brilliant. So that's all good. And what I did and didn't like, I've kind of already covered. Like this review is going a little bit quicker and a little bit more fluid than I normally do, because I normally like stop myself and do a little bit of that. But the fact that David Zellner and Nathan Zellner had the absolute balls and the audacity to make this movie and make it as beautiful as it is, this for me feels like an absolute passion project, where it was like, we want to do something where we're going to show people how Sasquatch live. They've clearly been inspired by those videos of back in the day, you know, when the Sasquatch walks across the front of the camera and then turns on and goes, oh. Like, they've clearly done that kind of research and seen all these things and made something for them to love. But now they've given it to us as well. And that's, for me, is all you can really ask from a filmmaker, especially at the lower end of the scale, the lower budget, because I don't think this would have had a massive budget. I don't think it really needed a massive budget, but you've somehow got some world-class actors in there, which is brilliant. I believe it's Nathan Zellner, who's one of the co-directors, along with his brother David. He plays the alpha male Sasquatch, who comes to a little bit of a sticky end, but my God, does he deserve it. And the fantastic thing is, I watched this with my 16-year-old daughter, little bit awkward, because there is like Sasquatch lovemaking going on. But I watched it with my 16-year-old daughter. She loved it as much as I did. We were both kind of like sitting there going, what is this? Like the first 10-15 minutes, it was like, what are we watching? And then as it goes on and then the seasons change and the stuff and things start to happen, you're kind of like, I know exactly what this is. I know what the message they're trying to give me is. I know what we're doing here. And I love that. If you're willing to not just let the awesome soundtrack and the cinematography and the 3 actors acting like Sasquatch, there's 4 actors acting like Sasquatch, if you're willing to look past that, there's a really, really awesome, cool message here that hits you like an absolute ton of bricks in that stinger at the end. What I will say on that though, this is one of the things I didn't really like. I'm not a big fan of the ending. I'm really, really not a big fan of this ending, because we spend our time with these Sasquatch, with these characters, with these Sasquatch characters, and we spend our time going through it. You kind of fall in love a little bit with them because you get to see them in their everyday mundane surroundings where it's a Sasquatch, so it should be awesome. It should be like, wow, what's going on? They crap in their hands and make me laugh so bloody hard at times, but then at other times I find myself almost at the point of tears. And then the film just kind of ends. I have no real problem with where it ends. It's the fact that it just kind of comes to an end. And then we're done. And then we get the credits. And I don't know. Maybe I just need a sequel. Do I need a sequel? Do I need more of this? I don't know. It's a bit weird to ask for it. You know, I'm a dialogue guy. Everybody knows that watches these reviews. I'm dialogue heavy. That's what I love. And when all the dialogue is that's not necessarily the kind of film I normally go in for, but I bloody love this film. It was just so cool. It was so much fun. Anyway, I'm going to get into my Nerdly Out Loud rating, because that is pretty much the only thing that I didn't really get on with, was the very end of the film. But I guess I would be asking for too much if we did anything else, and it would probably be doing the movie a disservice if it did anything other than what it did. So I can't be too harsh on it for that. But with that, my rating for this movie, I'm going to give Sasquatch Sunset a very solid 4. It gets a solid 4 out of 5 for me. I actually got a big kick out of this movie. I didn't think I would stay the course after the first 10-15 minutes. I thought, I'm going to get bored with this. It's not really for me. I don't really watch the History Channel, the Discovery Channel, those kind of shows. I mean, I do watch those channels, but not those kind of shows. So this probably isn't going to be for me. And as it went on, I just fell in love with Jesse Eisenberg. I fell in love with Riley Keough. I fell in love with all the Sasquatch, and I wanted to know more about their lives, but it was pretty much as mundane as it gets, which in itself is exciting and awesome to see. They're just like us. They shit in their hands and throw it at people, just like us. So yeah, I'm going to go, but thank you so much for this movie. David and Nathan Zellner, I think you guys are great. I saw The Art of Self-Defense. I really, really enjoyed that film. This movie, though, Sasquatch Sunset, for me, gets a nice, strong 4 out of 5. It was just so much fun to watch, so endearing to watch, and you gave me something to think about. And I guess that's probably what the idea was behind everything, like the initial idea. It was like, we're going to make these people think while they watch Sasquatch picking nits and berries and shitting, catching fish. So yeah, my name's Kevin Halden, this is Nerdly Out Loud. Please do go to the website, nerdly.co.uk, check out all the reviews over there. Also check out more videos on the channel, hit that notification bell, it will let you know whenever I drop something, so you'll never ever miss another review, interview, anything like that. But for now, I'm going to go 4 out of 5 for Sasquatch Sunset, and I'll see you next time.